Fred Daso from MIT. We're so grateful to have you here so I can interview you about the wondrous life at MIT.
It feels good to be back here, Samuel. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem. So let's get to it.
All right.
So what are you involved in at MIT?
So I'm involved in student government, specifically class council for the class of 2017. My role is, well, for the first 2 years, I was a publicity chair, and now I'm a social chair, which I'm in charge of organizing events for the whole class. So we have formals, lunch dates for members of the class to get together, meet one another, and a bunch of other activities.
So how would you compare, the workload at Bob Jones to the workload at MIT?
Well, take the workload at Bob Jones and then put an exponential to it. That's how much more difficult it is. But with the habits that I learned here at Bob Jones, I was able to slowly adjust to the rigor of MIT, and now the workload is manageable.
So you feel like the rigor at Bob Jones definitely prepared you for it?
Of course, especially with AP classes, I think that's what helped propel me and get me ready for the college environment.
So what would you tell a ninth grader here at Bob Jones who is planning on one day matriculating to MIT?
Okay.
Or some school?
Oh, yeah. So my advice to that ninth grader would definitely be, study hard, try and get into, take as many honors and AP classes as you can. Another thing too is extracurriculars. When it comes to how these colleges will evaluate you, it's not just, are you a person you can get a 4.0 or a 2400 on your SAT. It's also how have you been active in your high school community and the larger community, and how have you given back as well. So, get into extracurriculars that mean a lot to you and that you're passionate about, and just let that shine through your 4 years.
So about the application process.
Okay.
What do you feel, or do you feel that there's a part that's most important, or I know you mentioned that academics wasn't the sole factor. So how would you discuss, what would your comments be about the application process and your thoughts as a former applicant of MIT?
Okay, so specifically with MIT's application process, it has its own application versus of MIT's peer schools within the common application. So the most important part about the application process is your essays. That's what's going to set you apart, because when you're competing with a bunch of other students from across the country and internationally, with the best of academics and also extracurriculars, your essays are going to be what sets you apart. You're going to have your own individual voice when it comes to saying, hey, this is me, Fred Daso, and I'm applying to MIT.
So what's your major at MIT?
Aerospace engineering.
Aerospace engineering. Nice. So where do you see yourself, following your graduation at MIT? Whether it's graduate school, or where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years. So I would say, within the first 2 to 4 years, hopefully go to graduate school at Stanford University and get my master's in aerospace engineering there. I'm not sure whether I'd want to do a PhD at that point. I'm interested in research, but time will tell. But in the full 10-year time span, I'm hoping that I'll be employed, hopefully with one of the local engineering companies here. Boeing, for instance, I'm doing my 3rd internship with them already. I like the work culture, the balance, and that's where I hope to be.
So is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Oh, okay. Just study hard, do well in school. And also when it comes to college, I think one of the most important things is choosing your friends wisely. I think what has helped me get through MIT a lot is the support group that I have up there. And also, talking with a couple other people who happen to be at these other selective colleges too in the Northeast. But I think the most important thing is having a strong friend group that you can rely on and support, in those coming years.
So how is life at MIT? Is it strictly academics, or is there a balance of social endeavors as well as of course your rigorous coursework? Yeah,
so it's a good mix. I would say it's more academically inclined because I just spend a lot of time on academics in order to learn the concepts. But I also go out and have fun, especially with student government's one way. Another way is I do dance. So part of my freshman year, I did a little bit of dance troupe, which is like a hip hop dancing group, and that was pretty fun. So there's plenty of ways to get involved and also just enjoy your time up there. It's just not all academics.
So would you advise someone who is maybe interested in the liberal arts or humanities to apply to MIT, or is the, I guess, the course selection, or because I know that MIT is primarily math and science, it's,
Right.
it's an institution of technology. So for those who are maybe also interested in the humanities and liberal arts, what would you advise them to do in applying to MIT, or would you suggest MIT to them?
I would suggest MIT to them still, because even though MIT is primarily, math and science oriented, we still have a strong liberal arts program. You are required to take, you're required to take 8 humanities courses throughout your time, at least 8, right? And I know I have multiple friends who are getting, who are also majoring in the humanities courses, and I think you shouldn't just count out MIT because it's seen as a pure math and science, research school. I think there's a lot of opportunity there for humanities and arts and social sciences, and I think if you have an inclination towards those fields, you should still apply to MIT.
Well, Fred, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Samuel, for having me.